Hello everyone, this is Jason from Iron Mission. In today's video we got to talk about the Pan America because I did a video about some essential upgrades. I'll put that in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below. I've also done a video on the overall first impressions of this bike I did earlier in the year. Put that in the description below as well. But there was one change I hadn't made, didn't even mention it, but I decided to make it. Let's take a closer look. Alright, so let's talk about the seat. The seat on the Pan America, it's okay. Do I think it's absolutely critical that it's replaced? Not necessarily. Have I done a couple 100-mile rides on this bike where I wish I had a different seat? Yes. And so why have I waited 2,000 miles to replace this seat? Well, I couldn't really find a great alternative to the stock seat. A lot of them that I tried out were hard and they were really made for kind of like the off-road thing. And well, that's not really where I'm spending most of my time. And so I kind of went with this seat, and the nice thing about the Pan Americas is they are adjustable. And right now it's on the lower setting because I'm only 5'9", so the lower setting works in terms of being able to reach the ground comfortably and all that stuff, even though with the adaptive ride height it does just fine on its own. And I can reach the ground even on the higher setting, but the lower setting is decent. But there's a problem. And the problem is when you're on that lower setting, well, you tend to feel like you're sliding forward a little bit on the seat. And when you're riding a couple 100 miles and you're constantly feeling like you're sliding forward, and then this material, I don't know what it is about this material that they use, but it seems to like catch the jean material on my pants. And so there's almost like some kind of a rubbing or something like that that's kind of uncomfortable. And so I feel like I'm sliding into the tank. It's an okay seat, but I'm always finding myself adjusting. Okay, so with that background, what did I do? Well, come over here, and I'm going to show you what this looks like on the bike in a second. I bought this bad boy. This is the Saddleman. Why did I buy this? If you remember, I did a review on Saddleman on this bike. And I didn't necessarily review it all that highly. If you remember, I had some issues with this seat. Spent like $1,000 on the backrest and the passenger seat and all that stuff. And I wasn't super happy with it. And I, at the time, said it's not that much better than stock. And in fact, my wife decided to keep her stock seat on a Road King. Looks cool. So then why on earth would I go, knowing that, and buy this seat for the Pan America? Well, I sat on this seat at a dealer, and it was very, very comfortable. And so one thing, it's got that larger backrest, and it's a little bit more narrow, especially up towards the front. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this thing on. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to try to do this to show you the difference in width. And so again, here's the Saddleman seat, and then here's the stock. And you can see that the stock seat is significantly wider than the Saddleman seat. So what that means is the Saddleman seat you can only put on the upper adjustment level. So you can't put it on the lower one, but it's not going to matter because I actually found I can reach the ground easier with it being more narrow, even though, now we look at it from the side, the Saddleman's definitely going to have more cush to it. It's definitely going to be more cushiony. This thing is wider, but the padding is much, much thinner. Now, let me show you the passenger seat. Passenger seat is going to be more narrow, but it's going to be a little bit thicker, a lot more cushion. So again, I like that more narrow look for the Pan America as well. This is a little bit bulky. So if I put this seat on top, there you go. That's the stock seat compared to the Saddleman. So it's definitely going to be more narrow. All right, so there's the seat. Much better profile, much better looking in my opinion. Seat goes for under $600. I think all in I was around $580. That's right off the Saddleman website. It was kind of cool because when I ordered this seat, I didn't actually order this seat. I bought this one at Sturgis. But when I ordered this one off the Saddleman website, they kind of give you updates as the seat goes through production. They tell you what step it's in. Kind of cool there. It tells you, hey, this is what's happening at each department. Went in pretty easily. Took a couple minutes just to figure out how to get the front latched in. But once I did, it's a nice snug fit. Like I said, looks a lot better. Looks a lot sportier. Definitely more comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and do what I always do, and that is give it a long-term review. A long-term test, I should say. And then I'll come back to it maybe 1,000 miles or so. And we'll talk a little bit more about how this is doing. I know that Saddleman said for this seat that it needed a 1,000, 2,000 mile break-in. I think it was more like 20,000 miles, and it's still a little bit rougher, harder than I'd like it to be. I just got back from a trip to Tennessee where I did About 2,000 miles on that seat. I've done multiple 2,000 or 3,000 mile trips on that seat. Still not the best. This one I have higher hopes for because right from the start, it's better than stock. So that's cool. Being more narrow, it's a thicker, there's more cushion there, but because it's more narrow, like I showed you earlier, you're not going to have to worry about, especially if you're someone who's 5'8", 5'9". You know, like I said, I'm 5'9", and it didn't really change anything in terms of not being able to comfortably touch the ground at stoplights and stuff like that. So even though I'm on the upper level, because it's more narrow, your feet are still touching the ground just fine. So definitely an improvement over the looks. And we'll get back and we'll talk about, hey, what's this thing like on a 200 or 300 mile trip? What's it like when, you know, after 1,000 miles? And we'll see from there. All right, everybody, as always, thank you so much for being here. And if you want to see more on the Pan America, check out those videos in the upper and lower right-hand corner. Have a great week, everybody. Ride safe.